Hey guys, Dr. Mike Israetel here for Renaissance Periodization Juggernaut Training Systems. I'm going to be talking to you about magic exercises and super cool twerks and techniques that get you jacked immediately with no work on your behalf. Sound skeptical yet? Good, you should be. So, what are we talking about today? Well, to define the topic exactly, magic exercises is kind of our little joke here for little tweaks to normal movements that might offer some muscle growth benefits. So for example, in a dumbbell row, instead of just rowing, you can row more towards your hip. That's a little tweak. If you're shoulder pressing, instead of dumbbells just going like that, you might do the Arnold press, right? Where you start out with the dumbbells in front of you like this, and then scoot out. Some people start here and then go out. A bunch of different variations, really small little tweaks. A lot of times it's using interesting grip widths and other things like that on a bar. What does that do? Are those things worth it? Are there benefits? Are there costs? For sure, yes to all of those. Let's talk about the benefits. Yes, you can target certain muscles more if you tweak certain exercises. So for example, if you normally row with a dumbbell, you hit the rear delts, you hit the forearm flexors, you hit much of the back. If you row just the same way, but you pull more to your hip, you do actually involve more lat muscle activity, and you do hit the lats a bit more rather than the rhomboids and traps that you would hit just rowing normally. So there is a bit of a difference. In addition to that, especially if you're using heavy loads for high volumes, certain tweaks allow you to reduce wear and tear, right? So for example, one tweak I use is when I do skull crushers, I don't just reach back like this because it really beats the shit out of your elbows. What I do is I slightly unhinge my elbows coming forward, and then I do the motion. I tried doing skull crushers literally a decade ago like this for months, and my elbows were fried. I started bending here at the elbows first, pushing them forward. That tiny little tweak has kept my skull crushers injury-free. It's all been really, really awesome. And just with that tiny little tweak, it's prevented a ton of wear and tear. And little tweaks can prevent staleness. If you're really tired of rowing in one way, you can start rowing in another way. It's a bit of a different hit, different motor units involved. It's not as psychologically boring anymore, and it can really help you bust through plateaus where you just kind of run out of tricks. So those are definitely some benefits. What are some problems? Well, not much of a problem, just a reality. The difference in muscle activation and in total growth especially is gonna be tiny between this stuff. You don't look at professional bodybuilders on stage with their backs like cobra'd out, lats hanging, and go, you know what? That person must only do their underhand rows with their pinky off the bar. I mean, it's just definitely, they can't have wrapped up pinkies because I know that doesn't activate the lats at all. I mean, that's garbage, right? I have a pretty decent back nowadays. How'd I get my back? Doing lots of weighted pull-ups, and I can bench row 315 for strict reps. That's the only way to get a really big back, to lift a lot of weight. Do I do a lot of weird cable funky stuff? Not really. Sometimes I do, but does that make a huge difference in my back? Do I start doing it and then like next month I'm posing and I'm like, oh my God, my back is huge. No, it just doesn't work like that. It's little tiny changes, right? So be realistic is a really big tip there. And here's the big deal. Big problem with this kind of stuff is people get too carried away with little quirks. They start to sacrifice overload. For example, if you're doing the Arnold press, you're taking dumbbells from here and you're pressing them up this way. Okay, that's all well and good. How much weight can you do this with versus getting a good block, good setup, and actually dumbbell pressing with as heavy of a weight as you could do for strict reps? It's not even close. You probably have to take 20 or 30 pounds off each dumbbell in order to do the same reps. So you've gained this little tiny bit more activation, okay, but what have you gotten in return for it? This huge reduction in volume load on the net balance, that's probably a negative. So how do we make sure to combine all of these things into kind of a cogent strategy so that we get the benefits without much of the cost? First of all, these things are okay to do on occasion, right? Little weird tricks and tips, little weird motions, but mostly stick to the basics so you get all the good stuff and every now and again add in some variation. If every mesocycle you're looking to do some weird new variant that's going to be the thing that gets you muscle growth, you're already off on the wrong foot. Make sure that your loading, your range of motion, and your relative intensity don't diminish. Let's take one of those at a time. Your loading we already talked about. If there's a quirky way to shoulder press, but which only lets you use 50% of your normal weights, it's probably not going to beat the 100% loaded shoulder press. Doesn't matter how funky it is, all right? So make sure that you can still produce good loads, or have done your heavy work first and then add a couple of sets of the lighter weird stuff at the end, for sure. Range of motion. Some people say, I totally feel my curls better when it's just up here, bro, so I don't even go down here anymore. Oh my God, you don't have any motor units you're missing out on? You're missing out on stretching the muscle under load, which is a huge stimulator of actual growth. So make sure that if you're doing these technique works, don't trade off range of motion too much. I swear to God, I see a video of a bodybuilder every other day being like, I feel my chest more when I just bench right here and no more. Like, really? Versus all the way up and down? Get out of here with that stuff. There's only little tweaks can go so far. Doing hardcore heavy basics with a full range of motion, that's what really grows muscle. If you tweak on top of that, or the tweaks don't sacrifice range of motion, you're good to go. But if they totally throw away basic principles like that, you're in trouble. Another one is relative intensity. I see individuals do, a back workout where they're like, okay, so I take this cable and I bring it in here and I really feel my lat. Yep. And I bring it back up. Yep. You feel the squeeze. Awesome. We do 8 reps like that and then we're good to go. Like, how many reps away from failure was that? Like 100? If you had a gun to your head, how many more could you have done? Like, well, like infinity, but the point is like activation and feeling it. Like, that's nonsense. You can feel it and work hard too. So if something's really killing your relative intensity, your proximity to failure, it's probably not that great of an idea. Tweaks are great, right? So if you want to point your feet a little bit different direction, a leg extension, good to go. You better grind that leg extension out until you're close to failure, because that's what gives you most of your growth. If training starts to look like you're just practicing for something, you've given up that much intensity to feel a certain muscle, you're better off just smashing it with hard, heavy weights, doing a little bit of the feel stuff, but making it tough and not so much focusing on the technique that you throw away hard training altogether. So make sure your range of motion never goes, make sure your loads are always heavy, or you're doing the hardcore heavy work first. Intelligently, every now and again, use these tips and tricks, and don't ever think that the special funky stuff replaces the basics. Thank you guys so much. See you later.